In the second one here, we're going to put this in standard form. So when you're graphing or you're putting something in standard form, you need to be able to tell, is this a parabola or is this an ellipse? Because that'll help me to figure out in the end. 1 if you think it's a parabola, 2 if you think it's an ellipse. Show me a 1 if you think it's a parabola, 2 if you think it's an ellipse. John, why is this a parabola? I saw a little bit of both. Why is this a parabola and not an ellipse? Only one thing squared. Okay, so this is a parabola. So in my brain, okay, or looking at the board, either one, I know what a parabola is going to look like in the end. It's going to get into that form. Eventually, I need it to look like that in order to graph it. It is not in that form right now. I need to get it to looking like that. Okay, in addition to that, I don't know. Never mind. Let's go. So, we're following our steps. Our step 1 is organize. So, Justin, what's going to go on the left side of this equation here? Y squared plus 2y plus a blank. What about our x's here? They go to the right side. Why do our x's go to the right side and not stay on the left side? Because it doesn't have a square. If it was an ellipse like we did before, if it's squared, it goes to the same side. But in this case, that is not a squared x value, so it's going to move to the other side. When I move that over, it becomes a positive 8x plus 15 plus a blank. That is our organization step. Step 2 is filling in our blanks with half of b squared. So Courtney, what number am I cutting in half here? I'm cutting that 2 in half. So I cut that in half and I get 1 and I square it. So what number's going there? 1 in there, 1 in there. That's an easy one. I'm not doing that yet. So I'm not going to divide that 8 out yet. Right now I'm just filling in my blanks. I'm going to do that to help me put it in standard form, but at this point I'm not factoring anything out. When the ellipse, when there's a number in front there, we had to divide that out of there. Okay? That was on the left side with the x squared. That's when we had to divide that number out. But in this case, since I'm just filling in a blank. I'm just balancing. I wrote a 1 here. There's nothing written in front of that parenthesis that I need to multiply by. It's not like that. Good question. Okay? We've done that. Now we're on to step 3, which is make it pretty. When I'm making it pretty, it's going to look like this thing up here. So we're going to make this thing become this. We know we're completing the square here. It's y squared. And over here, I just wanted to have an x right there. Okay, so if that's being true here, Charles, what's going to go with my y? 1, because he's going to take that 2 and cut it in half and get a 1. Okay, over here, it's just different. It's not hard. It's just different. This together is really 8x plus 16. Jose, what do I need to do with that 8x plus 16? Divide. What am I taking out? I don't want a number here. I want it to just be x. So what's going to divide out? I'm going to factor the 8 out in front. So it's like dividing both things by 8. Plus 2. Good. There's my setup. Everybody good to that point? Now we're going to graph this thing. So making sure we know how to graph it. So I want to be careful when I graph this thing. I'm looking at this equation right here. This is what I'm trying to graph. So to start off, I would suggest deciding which way is this thing going to open. Point for me, up, down, left, or right. Which way is this parabola going to open? I'm seeing some ups, some rights, some lefts. The thing you're looking for first is what letter is being squared. Y is being squared. If a y is being squared, our only option is left or right. Don't pick up or down. It's not true. It's y squared, so it's either left or right. Why is it opening right and not left? Because that is positive. It is telling me it's going to open right and not left. So that's something I want to make sure I know. From there, I want to make my vertex, so you need to be careful here. Jasmine, think about it for a second. Where is my vertex going to be? So change both signs. Yeah, you were in the right path there. So change the sign, change the sign. -2, -1. Good. She went X and then Y. Okay? Even though it's X and then Y. I don't care what order it's in. It's X and then Y, changing their signs. So -2, -1 is going to be her starting spot. That's a, oh, sorry, that was +2, -1. Yep, thank you. -2, -1. There's my starting spot. From there, I need to find my A value. Rashad, what am I going to do with this to find my A value? Divide what? Take this and divide it by 4. That will tell you your A. So in this case, 8 divided by 4 gives me an A value of 2. So from my center point, from my vertex, I'm going to move 2. Which way am I going to? Side to side, because it's a y squared. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go over here. Which dot there, Kristen? Pink or green? Which one of those two dots is going to be your focus? The green dot is her focus. Why is that your focus? Because it opens right, we know it's going to be, that one's going to be our focus. That means the other dot is going to become our directrix. So our focus is at 1, 0, or 0, -1. Directrix, show me a 1 if you think that's a y equals line. Show me a 2 if you think that's an x equals line. 1 for y equals. 2 for x equals. Which axis did it cross? The x-axis. That makes it an x equals line. X equals -4. Good. Last thing we're going to do is graph the width of this thing. So when you look at this equation, Dimitri, how wide is my graph going to be? 8. Whatever number is in front here. That tells you how wide it's going to be. So if it's 8, he's going to go from his focus up 4 and down 4. So from there, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Parabola, parabola. There's my graph.